Hello, everybody. We are looking at Teddy Roosevelt, and as president, he is known as one of the leaders in this progressive movement that we are currently looking at. And your chart that you are looking at today are looking at the three C's. Now, this is a student from the past that filled this out and did a really good job with it. So I might use this as a model and an example. Now, your direction video takes you through exactly what you need to do, but we're going to go through and talk about what these three C's are, what they mean, look at the pictures, and then we'll look at the second page of this. So, in the control of corporations, so the first C, a corporation is a big business, okay? And trusts are basically a monopoly. And Teddy Roosevelt looked at trusts as either being good or bad. And he really believed that bad trusts, they should be destroyed because they are hurting the United States and the business and the economy. But he also believed that good trust could be kept. So these trusts that are actually putting money into the economy and actually not helping, or excuse me, not hurting consumerism, then that is okay. This student's visual here says follow the leader. You've got Teddy Roosevelt here with the sign that says government control of corporations and trusts, and you've got some business leaders that are behind them or behind him, and you can see the Capitol building and Uncle Sam kind of sneaking and looking and kind of seeing this as government control over what these trusts can or cannot do. So again, he wanted to control these corporations and make sure that they were actually helping the economy. The second C is what's known as consumer protection. During this time, you did not have things like the Food and Drug or the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, which now you cannot sell stuff without labels, telling people what's in it. So your Edpuzzle video this week takes a look at what are known as muck rakers. And that's what's happening in this picture. You think about what a rake does and how it is going to rake up leaves or rake up grass and it's going to pull it all together. That's what the muckrakers were doing. They are journalists and they are printing newspaper reports or magazine reports about some of these bad businesses and corporations that are out there that are taking advantage of the people, and they're not controlled in any way, form, or fashion. So, here it says safety in foods and medicines for American citizens that protect the consumer. There are some nasty, nasty tales of meat packing. I mean, there are no safety codes. There are no approval. Everything is just packed up. And take ground beef, for example. There are many stories. And in Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, he outlines these. And it really makes Teddy Roosevelt really aware of what's going on when Upton Sinclair writes this book. But he talks about how in the meatpacking industry, like these people are working with meat and their fingers get cut off, they bleed, and it all goes into the meat and it gets ground up together, but it still gets packaged and sent out and sold to the public. Disgusting. And in today's day and age, it's not supposed to happen. Everything goes through inspection. Everything has expiration dates. Everything has labels that tells you what's in it. So, if you don't want to buy it, you don't have to buy it. So, consumer protection, protecting the consumer from what is out there that can harm it. The last C is conservation of the environment. Teddy Roosevelt was a huge outdoorsman. He actually did not run for president for a third time because he wanted to go on an African safari. And, that's just the way he was. So he wanted to conserve the environment. And one way to do that was to create national parks So during his presidency, what we now know as national parks became a thing. It was a conservation effort of nature and something that he was really proud of doing. And here you've got a picture of him with uh, a conservation sign that's on a tree. And again, he's a great outdoorsman. And you see his little get up here as far as what he's wearing. And that played a huge role in his conservation because he was an outdoorsman. So that's taking you through the chart of the three C's. Now, when we go to this next page, there is a quote, and I want to read this quote to you. It says, "We demand that the big business give people a square deal. In return, we must insist that when anyone engaged in big business honestly endeavors to do right, he shall himself be given a square deal." So we're going to come back to this quote, and we're going to use this cartoon right here to kind of illustrate some of the things that we looked at in the chart. There are some questions down here that we're going to approach. So we're going to use the quote to answer questions 1 through 3. So what is significant about the basic shape of a square? When you think about a square, all four sides are equal. All angles are equal. So the significance of the shape of a square is that all sides and angles are equal. In other words, no side is bigger than the other, so nothing in his square deal between the government, business, and the people, everybody should be treated equally and have an equal share of say. So that's what he's fighting for here. So the second question, his progressive platform, or what he is putting together to help society in the progressive movement, is going to be called the Square Deal. So why did he call it the Square Deal? Because he believed that the square deal that he wanted was to make an equal society where no person, trust, business, etc., as the student puts it, is having power over others. So again, think about a square, everything is equal. Thirdly, based on your answers to the first two questions, what is the meaning of the quote? So again, we go back to the quote and we look at it, and it says that we demand that big business give people a square deal. So that part is looking at, as is said here, that the meaning of the quote is that businesses treat society and business fair and equally. They themselves will be rewarded in the end if they own, equality and fairness, meaning that businesses should not be ripping consumers off, and that businesses should be actually trying to work together for the betterment of American society and the consumers in the United States. The last question here, the last couple of questions, are actually looking at a trust. And if you look at the cartoon, again, he's a great outdoorsman. So you've got bears. And if you look, he has one bear down. And on that bear, it says bad trusts. The other bear over here says good trusts. And if you look, he is on a leash. And on that leash, it says restraint. So if you think back to what he says about good trust and bad trust, he wants bad trust to go away. So he has eliminated this bear, the bad trust. But at the same time, he is keeping close eye on these good trusts, trying to make sure that they are exactly that they are treating consumers fairly. So when we go to these questions, a trust is basically a big business. What has Teddy done to the bad trusts? And again, he's hunted them down. And the bad trusts need to be eliminated. And in this case, and in the cartoon, he shot the bad trust or the bear, and he keeps the good trust alive, even though he is keeping them a close eye on them, because again, that is where the leash comes into play. So based on the picture, what does Teddy want to do with the good trusts? So it says pay attention to the leash. So the leash that is there is to symbolize the fact that he is going to hold on to these good trusts, watch them, and make sure that they are going to stay in line. He's going to keep them under control. And if they become bad, then that is when they need to be gotten rid of. So the final question is just kind of summing everything up. Did President Teddy Roosevelt feel all trust needed to be broken down? Why or why not? So no, he did not feel all trust needed to be broken down. The bad ones needed to be gotten rid of, but the good ones can be beneficial. So in an effort to prevent trust from being corrupted, he restrained them and kept them under control. So again, during this time period, you see a lot of businesses that are having monopolized certain industries. And through these trusts or monopolies, they can be good and they can be bad. So he is trying to keep them under wraps, keep the good trusts in control. So again, Teddy Roosevelt's square deal, trying to make things equal, trying to make sure that the consumers are not being taken advantage of by controlling corporations, protecting the consumer from dangerous businesses that are out there like the meatpacking industry, and then also paying attention to the environment because he knows that the environment is a very important thing in trying to conserve energy and trying to conserve things that are there. So if you have any questions about this chart or these questions, please let us know. Thank you.